Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and today it's a topic that we have talked about a little bit before, brushed up on, but it's like removing things from your life. And whether this is people, ideas, things, maybe something that you are kind of addicted to, and not replacing them with other things, with other crutches, with other vices, with other shiny toys, with other new people. It's just removing these things and living a better life because of it. I think so much of our lives are dictated by stuff, accumulating more things, accumulating more friends, more experiences, more shiny toys, more vapes and cigarettes and all of that kind of stuff. And that can be great if you're trying to fill a void that will sort of never be filled, that never can be filled. But like I said, it's never going to be filled. You're never going to be able to properly, feel accepted, feel completed, feel any of that kind of stuff. And that constant chase for it not only costs a lot of money, it takes a lot of bandwidth from your brain. You're never actually going to fill that kind of desire you have to be super popular or look really cool or do all of these things or feel good in that moment when you take that hit of the cigarette or whatever it is. And I was talking with some friends recently about just that and how it seems like an endless treadmill of trying to fill the void, trying to get all of this stuff and be that kind of cool person. And it's never going to be filled. And so the solution that I have found is to not even try filling it. I don't go around looking for the next big thing, the next new thing. I need new friends. I need new this, new that. I'm pretty simple and boring in that regard. And I think that's one of the reasons why people don't talk about this, is because it doesn't fill some capitalistic desire. You're not fulfilling some kind of some niche. You're not helping the market grow. And it's also just kind of boring. It's what? You're not going to do anything new and exciting. You're not going to, develop something or be someone new or try a new hobby or what? You're not going to do any of that? No, I'm not. And that can be quite boring for people, but what some call boring, I call being at peace and just being able to relax and enjoy what you have, enjoy what you do. There is just this constant pressure to keep up with the Joneses, to follow the tribe and the vibe. And like last year it was about those giant were they Yeti, whatever they were, giant water bottles that everyone was obsessed with, and everyone was like, why don't you have one? I'm like, because I have a water bottle and I've used it for the last 8 years and I don't need a new one. I'm boring, right? Exactly, it goes back to that. And what's really powerful is when you make the switch from getting new things or, chasing that constant desire, and you get to the point where you're just removing things. You're just removing things from your life. There can be stressful people, things you don't need. Realize like, oh, hey, like I don't need to do this thing every morning. I don't need a cup of tea in the morning. I don't need this. I don't need that. And it can be really simple. And again, it's super boring. I'm talking about stuff that is not inherently fascinating or interesting or riveting. However, by removing that stuff, you're left with just some simplicity. And hopefully you're left with your thoughts, and those thoughts are positive and constructive, and they can make you a better person and they can make you chill out a bit. I have recently been following the news a little bit too much, and I know this, so I'm not going to. I'm sorry if the world falls apart on my watch because I stopped listening. I apologize. I don't think that that's true. I don't think that by me knowing and being anxious about the things going on in the world, they will somehow correct themselves or change. I don't think that's going to happen. So apologies, but I will no longer be an informed human being when it comes to world politics and geopolitics and socioeconomic issues. I'm at the point where I can't focus on this stuff. I'm losing sleep at night over this stuff, like legitimately losing sleep over it. So I'm going to remove it from my life, and I'm going to remove a bunch of stuff that I don't need, and I'm not going to replace it with a whole lot of other stuff. I might replace it with some meditation, with some breathing exercises, with just relaxing, maybe enjoying a book. But what I'm not going to replace it with is new stuff, new things that I buy, new purchases, and new habits that are just inherently not healthy. So I apologize in advance for the world falling apart at my watch, but I have to preserve my own world, and I have to remove things that I know are harmful and aren't doing me any good, and I'm not doing them any good. And so that's totally fine, and that's what's happening. But I think on the subject of removing things, I think it's very unpopular in our culture to talk about this and to do it as well. The idea of like removing your friends, it's like, well, that's antisocial. Like, you need to have lots of friends. You know, if you don't have 10 close friends in your life, what are you doing? You're an antisocial loser. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's fair. I think you can have an honest conversation with yourself about how your friends make you feel. And if your friends make you feel like garbage, if your friends make you feel just not good, not having a good time, it is totally fair to just say, you know what, we've got to cut this here. I had a friend that I met at the beginning of university in our orientation, and we became very, very close friends. She was one of the first people that I ever came out to. We were pretty much lockstep for the first few months of university. And what ended up happening was she came to sort of rely on me for a lot more than I was able to provide. You know, she started, some dangerous habits, and really it was like a bad situation. And so at some point I had to call her and sort of tell her this. And at one point she asked, "Are you breaking up with me?" And I was like, well, I guess I am, because I genuinely can't be doing this. I'm losing sleep at night over what you're doing, and it's really causing me stress, and I'm always the one that has to come and help you. And I want to be a supportive friend, but at the same time, like, I know my limits, and I know what I can and should be able to do, and I can't do it. And it was a really hard thing to do, and I lost a lot of sleep over it, but ultimately it did make my life better. And it was really important to remove this person from my life. I had tried lots of different things to try and rectify the situation or make the relationship better or to help her, and nothing had worked. Nothing had even made a dent. And so I basically decided, you know what, I'm sorry, but we've got to change this, and I've got to remove this from my life. You don't necessarily feel great when you remove things from your life. Initially, you won't feel good. A lot of times you'll feel withdrawals, or, man, if only I could just smoke that cigarette one more time, or, whatever it is, you will have this sort of regret or the feeling of missing it. But it doesn't last, and over the long term, it's a net positive in your life. You will feel better by getting rid of some of these things. And most importantly, you get rid of these things and you don't replace them with something equally as bad or slightly better. You just remove them. And like I said, this is a very boring thing. Our society does not like this. Our society screams against this. The idea that, oh, you're not going to do something else? You're not going to pick up a new hobby, or, but boring people have a really interesting aesthetic to them. They have a really interesting aura or presence when you're around them. When these people, they're your typical accountant types, straight-laced, your super quiet types, they can be very powerful in that they know what they like, they know what they do, and they really don't care about society's opinions or the opinions of their negative friends and family. They just exist, and that can be, I envy them. I envy the ability to just be who you are 1000% unapologetically, even if that person is kind of boring. I aspire to be boring. I aspire to be that boring human being who does exactly what he likes and does not care what the crowd says about him. Maybe one day I will be that boring human. But for now, that is my piece of advice. I hope you have a beautiful and magnificent day. I hope you're having an amazing day, week, month, year, whatever you're having. I hope it's amazing. And as always, let me know what you think, and I will talk to you tomorrow.